Good morning, everyone. Well, it's starting to take hold. Let's see how ugly it might get. The market has been so erratic, whips ups and downs, but this looks like the stage is set for the disappointment as to one rate cut or no rate cut, because the intermarket relationships that we've been talking about now for over a week and some longer are beginning to others to take notice. And as you can see, interest rates moving up above this resistance area this morning. This is the 10 year actually gapping up and clearing the top of the rate. Back here we talked about what was going to happen as it came down to this support area, which you can see on the daily chart as it started to make the turn. And the market's held up. I mean, almost like we talked about this. It's like, you know, in the past, markets would have sold off, but they were chopping sideways and moved up. Interest rates moving up, they didn't care. They then pulled back to these converging moving averages, which we talked about. And it's like, if this makes the turn up, the market's not going to like it. Well, for the obvious reasons, interest rates moving up, the dollar starts moving up. Um, you know, but so many saying interest rates cuts and so on and so forth, everything's okay. And now we'll see where this week ends. But so far, we've got a new bar igniting out of a consolidation on the weekly time frame. So here was the wide range bar. And there were times where this looked like, was this going to be a bear flag? And it is going to go lower. And now it's, bar by bar analysis is taking on a very different look, with that wide range bar, and it stayed at the top of the top 50% range, and now moving up, and it's got room to move higher. There's no, we see these overlapping bars right here, um, which looks like, I don't know, the cursor isn't showing me. Oh, there it is on the daily chart. Um, say 4.5% might really be the point where traders start to become, I don't know, maybe things get ugly at that point. But when I'm pointing, I see these overlapping opens and closes right there. That is where there's going to be an area of consolidation on the smaller time frame. And let's just remove this, and we'll just do this. And you can see somewhere in here, like it gets up. I'm just picking this 4.5%, taking note of it, and then looking to the left to see what's in alignment with it. And that area there should be, a point. The fact that it's getting up above here is, people are taking notice of it. So where will it go? Well, we're going to see together, but clearly this has now created a downside move, call it maybe a head and shoulders bottom or whatever, a downside shakeout, and it's clearing the neckline, and that's going to go up. And anybody looking at this chart recognizes that this is going up, and that's not a good thing for the markets. The 13-week, kind of flipped up a little bit. So, the uncertainty about, what rate cut, no rate cut. But anyway, it's not getting crazy yet. There you can see the markets are lower here, continuing to drop, and they're on this minor support point. So this turn, there we got 1, 2, 3. When trading starts, this software will mark this as a pivot right there, 3 and 3. It didn't make a new high, or maybe it didn't make a new closing high. But this is starting to look like a M top. There was the momentum move, and there was the retest. Last week we were talking about the breakout bar failure pattern, which I explained as consolidation and the breakout and inside bar. And right now, so I look at it, it's going to open at or below that inside bar there. open. We'll see where it closes. But it's got a little mini void down to this major support point. So there's a long way until Friday, and news is coming out at 10 o'clock, which could flip this thing right back in the other direction. So be aware of that, jobs report and factory orders and such. So uh, don't get whipsawed at 10 o'clock. And it's back to what we've been talking about with this inflation. Gold been moving up. We pointed that out. The dollar, especially yesterday, moving up. Looks like it's going to go higher. Pointed out ags moving up as they did. To me, it was like, and that's the way things are sometimes. It's like you see these things that we look at, these intermarket relationships. Like, how is this market ignoring this? No one's saying anything about it. It's like they don't want to. It's kind of like being in denial. Commodity going up. I guess a good thing it's up at resistance here. I was saying, Greg, so if an M top, how far would it normally pull back to the base where momentum would start? Well, you always look to the left and look to the trend. So those are spiders. You see where prices are at. They're coming down here, minor support. Some mornings we talk, Dan and I were pointing out some type of concept as to how we view the charts, right? So one that I've talked about recently is slowing momentum, the distance between the highs. Now this began to accelerate. So as we look at a trend and we see the distance between highs getting smaller, thing suggests that maybe it could roll over. Now, it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you get an acceleration and now you get a retest and it's breaking down. You still got a rising 20, you got a rising 50. We're looking at things from a short-term perspective as well. Yesterday, I pointed out that there's lots of support here. So if things continue to move lower, this is going to be a target area. Now, this 5,200 area, 5,000, just $520 area, is a significant level in SPX because there's a relatively large open interest there. So 5,200, it's like here, right here, where this level is now. Okay, so that being the case, if those options start to be unwound, clearly the 20 MA could easily be tagged, and then we just see from there. Right now, it's right here on this area where it's going to open up, and we'll see if it stabilizes there, and probably I think it might because of the numbers at 10 o'clock that are coming. And so if the numbers are like yesterday, point toward information that suggests they're not going to be able to cut rates, or maybe they're going to cut one time, or they're going to be saying, there's a bunch of guys talking today. Bowman at 10:10 right after the numbers, and then Williams at 12 and Meister at 12:05. And so Fed Daily speaks at 1:30. They're all going to be all over the place giving their views as to I guess these numbers that they're seeing here. So be aware. Today could be a whippy day. And then, okay, ultimately, we'll just see where things go, right? So when we see a pattern, we see things beginning to break, we look to the left. And based on this pattern, I would say that unless these numbers are horrendous, the markets aren't going to drop like, the rock off the roof kind of situation. There's just too much support initially down here. But, we haven't had any significant corrections. This is on bars. Let's just say bar distance percent. That's about a 3% correction, which a year or so ago, whatever it was, the corrections were 3 to 5% max. So, I mean, the market is so fixated on the inflation and the data, and now this disappointment coming. I don't know. It could get out of hand, but we'll just see. Look, we see what's happening. We talked about it, the potential for it to happen. Market ignored it. Now they're not ignoring it. It's in their face, right? After yesterday's numbers, the intermarket stuff was like, whatever. Let's see what the numbers are. So now they got it, right? Um, Crude oil is moving up. We've been talking about that, and it's got room to go higher. So they can't ignore it anymore. Now, transportation, we talked about it at the top of the range. Now, with crude oil moving higher, those stocks are going to be affected. In the room yesterday, we talked about the rail stocks, right? Short setups. Now, the airline stocks that have been going up that have been strong. Odds are, they're going to take a hit, but let's see. Because now, look, if you look at airlines, cruise lines, hotels, if you look at the cruise ETF, people are out there spending money. Right? And there's a whole talk about the consumer, yada, yada, yada. Well, also we hear that credit card debt is over $1 trillion. At some point, all of these things can start to come together where, hey, no one give a darn about it before. And now all of a sudden everything's cared about. And, so look, we're aware of this. We're aware of the trend is strong. And it's the end of the quarter. Things correcting to some extent is a reasonable thing at this point in time. And we'll just monitor it. A few other things, SMHs, now this pattern has fallen apart, not completely, but this was a beautiful pattern where this could have moved up. And now, it backed off yesterday and not a big deal. And now that it's moving down as it is, and the weekly chart having this consolidation, what you call it? This was lagging, going sideways for a while. So there was lots of stuff out there that was saying, you better watch out. Now, Bitcoin, look at the little topping thing here, big down day here. Up at a whole number. We know there's some resistance up there. So a lot of things coming together. Gold continuing up today. Is it a head and shoulders? No, not a head and shoulders. I mean, it's not accentuated where, this looks like a shoulder, but I see what you're looking at. Right now it's consolidating, and just like with any distribution pattern, does it violate the support? So on a short-term basis, it certainly looks like it's going to come down there. Whether it holds, we'll see. So that's the unknown. Weekly charts are extended. That's supportive to think that this and other things could go through those support levels. But at least we have these support levels where it's just not an open void that would suggest the potential for a significant drop. We don't have that. A few other things. The Dow was weaker yesterday, minor support. It's probably going to be down there. I'm going to get moving here. Dow futures, like these things are going to come lower. Here's the pattern of the breakout bar failure. Right there, with the minor topping tail inside bar, it's breaking down. And again, I've seen these happen where it's turned out to be a really nasty thing, but the trends did not have this kind of immediate support underneath. So this is the good part about it, where, I guess if you're short, or you want to short, having all of this support going to make it more difficult. So it just suggests, things can tend to be more choppy than any kind of a collapse there. This has been strong. So, We'll see. This is where I was talking about the slowing momentum, and you can see the distance between the highs. Um, so this has been a really good spot. Things have been strong. We'll see. Um, IWM, you know, come up to that pivot there, but it's so far away. I would love to see this go sideways because then it would present an incredible opportunity for this to show some relative strength where it could go higher. So again, all of these things we're going to be keeping an eye on, as we always do. KRE came in yesterday. Financials were weak, right out of the bat. They were weak, and XLK, not XLK, XLF. Did I not put that in here? Here it is, XLF. Which has been one of the strongest sectors. Now, that's gapping down, and of course, it's extended because it's been one of the strongest. So everywhere we look, we're pretty much getting the same message. And have your stops. We'll be looking for more shorts. We'll be looking for more call spreads, with these patterns that are developing. And we find opportunities as the market presents it to us. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, I agree. The market's been ignoring all this election year. Carl Bass, who I actually met in Dallas, big money manager, smart man. He said the fact that they're cutting this year is just 100% political. And then he says you live in a friggin' cave if you can't see that. They're going to spend money. They're going to do whatever they can to prop up the markets into the election. So yeah, Greg, warned about this possible breakout failure, small little on top. Look at weekly, monthly. I actually sent an email to my brother. Um, we had my dad in the markets for a long time, and I'm like, what? This might be a time to take some off the table. We got finally a big open gain. He sat through that coronavirus pullback. Sure, Robert. I'll do it right now. Why not? Cost versus Apple. Yeah, totally different patterns. Yeah, I posted this as a call spread, and the only reason I didn't post it as a directional yet is because I didn't see a gap earlier, and I didn't want subscribers to be messing with a big gap. But it's beautiful. Daily, weekly, monthly is a Climo topping tail. So this one's just a closing breakdown after breakout failure, kind of a head and shoulders breakdown. Apple is in a nasty downtrend. So this one's a breakdown also, but they're totally different. This is a breakdown in a weak stock. Whereas, this one's been hanging on support, but things start giving it up. This could fall $10. Why not? All right. So in the news department, I guess Medicare saying they're not gonna, I don't know, I don't care about the news, but they're saying they're not gonna pay these clowns more money on reimbursements. So Humana, I mean, these are just nasty gaps. So I don't have a bias. They're down a lot already. UNH. These are ugly. ELV, we're actually in. We bought this breakout. So this one's holding the strongest. Look, this thing's in an uptrend. 20, 50, 200. And we'll be talking about moving averages tomorrow in MT Live. This is a beautiful moving average analysis, obviously coupled with charts. Look at this beautiful 1, 2, 3 right here on the gap negated. So yeah, it's against us because of the news on the sector. CNC $75. Capping a support, nothing to do. I'll just watch them. CBS. This one might bounce. I'll watch that. Put that in a window. Yeah, semis were the pocket of semis and energy were the pocket of strength yesterday. We are long CVX Chevron. And I said wow, look at that. I said first target was 160 spot 35, and it hit that pre-market to the penny. But I said let's try to squeeze a little bit, maybe another 50 cents out of it. Estee Lauder got an upgrade. It's hanging in there. Let's see what it does with the relative strength. Clorox, I forget, maybe a downgrade, I forget. PVH had earnings, I think. It is getting killed. When you have to go way off your daily chart to see price, you're dealing with an ugly gap. So it's gapping to 110. So that's a nasty gap, but look at the price void still. So that nasty gap can get uglier. So I have no bias. I don't know how it's going to trade. Tesla, when Greg was talking, kerplunk here on some delivery numbers, gapping to this prior low. I'm always watching the fangs. PayX, kerplunked, that had earnings. I got no bias. There's a lot of, sometimes we get big old gaps that I say, hey, major support. I don't know. I read in the journal, or maybe our local newspaper, that the Florida Supreme Court did something, and they're allowing it to go to the ballot to become legalized. So CGC, no pattern. Moss is a bottoming pattern. I have an alarm at 3270. All right, so they're giving up their gains. That's sloppy. We're in Michael Jackson in the ETF letter. A nice bottoming pattern, all time frames. We're in it from down here at 350. We have a nice open gain already. Beef, I think, had earnings 215. Big old gap. Another one. I have no idea. This is rare. Usually I have a bias. With these ugly gaps and the market down and the price voids on the bigger time frames, I don't. Right in, see this topping tail here? That was a wide range green bar. I posted it in Telegram as a 30-minute high long watch. I guess they had some delivery numbers too, just like Tesla, but reality sunk in and gave it up, so no interest anymore. All right, there's our Costco ASO alarm went off. Sell setup, 2050 topping tail, 3-bar reversal. So ASO is a sell setup, CSX is a sell setup. Same sell setup, turn at the 50. It's up now. My low alarm did go off earlier. To reset my other computer. Let me reset that alarm to 3660. All right, good. OHI breakout. These things that were bullish patterns, unless it amazingly just opens flat, showing incredible relative strength. I think the play on these is to just see how they finish the day, if they're pretty much unscathed or not, or if the bullish pattern gets destroyed. YMM, nice big old multi-week turn here at the 20. Same story, see how it finishes the day. Should, we said, is a long watch over yesterday's high. Consumer defensive housing. Not housing, household. All right, I'll put that in a window. Should have an alarm, but we'll see what it does here at the open. This is one of the best long setups I've seen so far. If I were to hit the mouse on the long side, progressive, strong uptrend, closing breakout, and actually gapping up. So that's amazing relative strength. Hess, Greg mentioned yesterday when he was scanning a couple of oils. That's gapping up with the sector. GWRE will be a bull sandwich breakout. I have an alarm up there. REL, real, having a core long list, but no rush. CCJ, uranium stock. I know Alex and some others bought the nice gap breakout yesterday. Mod is a failed buy setup now, but I still have an alarm at 95. See if it can recover. Otherwise, I got no interest. FNF 1, 2, 3. Breakout daily, weekly, monthly. Ideally, we get another inside bar or two. ENTG, I have as a put spread. It's gapping down. Yeah, there's my alarm, 140, 150. So nothing to do unless that goes off. XHE broke out. CME, the call spread idea. Bearish 4-bar turn after a breakdown. Price void. Maybe 30-minute low directional, but a definite call spread if there's any juice. NTAP, my up alarm actually went off pre-market, but looks like that was a false alarm. Let me set a new alarm, 105.30. All right, I got more alarms going off here. Yeah, obviously our bullish positions are going to be feeling the pain. ISRG, we have a put spread. That's a deep retracement now, not looking good. WSM, I have as a call spread idea. Climo, daily, weekly, monthly. Cost. Yeah, yeah. So FT, yeah, this is a major pivot. So yes, that's major support. However, look how many overhead bars there are from the head and shoulder. So the evidence says that it's going to go through that. If it can't bounce here in the first 30 minutes, the evidence is going to go through. So Greg, yeah, if you'll help me, with an entry on the directional, I gave a call spread already. Argin, we are short. Gap down, smooth stop, break even. Regulatory halt. I don't know if I know either, but
It means trouble.
yeah, you're right. It means you broke a regulation, and it's our job not to allow you to continue trading when you broke the regulation. So that sounds exactly right.
If you're long, it's reason to be nervous.
Yeah. Unless it's an excessive gap, and then you just got to handle it like any other big old gap. Wow, yields here rocked. The VIX was ripping pre-market, tick under almost negative 1,200. Argent, Bitcoin getting whacked. We were in those meme stocks. Remember, we were shorting calls on them. All those work fantastic. Margin, that adjusted.
Oh,
Mara, low alarm. Shoot, we had a
look,
call spread on that.
check this out. Put it in your maybe it sets up a 1, 2, 3. LPG. It's an oil and gas stock. What a nice wide range bar coming out of a base, moving averages.
Here, if you can type it, I don't get LTG. LGP, you said it wrong.
LPG. No, it's LPG. I typed it wrong.
You said it wrong. Uh, LPG. Yeah, LPG sounds like natural gas. Yeah, beautiful 1, 2, 3. All right, where am I? Mara. Mara looks horrible. We're stopping out of the call spread. Our stop 1978. So yeah, that's a stop. We have the 19 and a half, 17.
Dell holding up okay so far, but it broke under an end of day base.
Yeah, my alarm didn't go off. We took our money on the put spread yesterday. We still have directional, but yeah, looks good. Let me set a new alarm, 116. Our stop. Oh, I didn't change the stop. Let's move it. Let's pre-market low. 116.48. Oh, I already have it 116.98. All right, so I'll just leave it. All right. Said G, low alarm. Maybe R.A. Yeah, yeah. Brazil, bottoming pattern, void. I'll watch it for 30 minutes. Snow. Okay, I had an alarm over these highs, so I'm just going to delete it now. ISRG, our stop is 3. Our T2 is holding, put spread, AMD, breakout failure, don't like that at all. We actually stopped out of the put spread. We covered half yesterday. AMD 172. $82. Argin, low alarm. Nice. So let's now give a 1/3 target. We also have AMD directional though. Let me see where that stop is. Six. Let's cover a third in a weakness here. It's not moving. AMD directional. Our stop is 179.88. $79. I moved it yesterday. So okay, so AMD stopped out. Shoot. And yesterday I came so close to moving it to break even, but it was just too tight to realistically do it. But there was no reason to play defensive yesterday. I had a deep retracement though. So we're out of AMD, both trades. Let's see, our Apple is under one. Apple. All right, Apple is a go. That looks horrible. Greg, are you watching Costco entry?
Not at the moment.
Now is triggering as a call spread. Let me see what the juice is. 797.80. There's no way we're gonna get filled. The VIX is ripping up on the 15. Yeah, this now is too spready. Midpoint now is 60. Well, I'll leave it. I want it, well, I want it 110. It's spready, but I'll leave it. Costco.
Under 50 MA in support. You're not gonna get an entry right now.
Akamai, I'm just gonna leave. It was a put spread over all those, those highs. Amazon low alarm. T2 was fine. ISRG just stopped out. 386.88, 385, 380. That was a breakout failure.